Hey folks, Rob here, interrupting SHMUPtember with I guess we'll call it a special Rob Plays. This is Daffy Duck. Now, if you know your C64 history, you'll know that Daffy Duck is one of those games that is probably the most legendary of lost titles. And after quite a long time of searching, the amazing people over at the Games That Weren't website actually managed to find it. It's a great, the whole story about how it was discovered in itself is amazing on so many levels. I really recommend you read the link. I'll pop it in the description. But it is an amazing story of how they found it after so long that they kept focusing on finding it, managed to find the source, and actually rebuilt it. So, with that, well, so the basic story, of course, is that Hi-Tec were planning to release it in 1992. The game was finished. It got submitted to the magazines for review. Zap gave it 94%, pretty darn high score. And then it just disappeared. Because as, of course, what actually happened, Hi-Tec collapsed just before this was mastered. And it's just amazing that everything was found and preserved and still survived after all 20 odd years. So because of that, we don't really know the whole story of like the actual game itself, but it's essentially you play Daffy Duck, you're trying to restore color to the various parts of like the Looney Tunes town. And you can see here it's put together by Ash and Dave, digital design, who responsible for so many great games in the later years. And so I think this came out I should say, had it come out according to plans would have been just before Slicks. And that's a pretty good way to end a career, this and Slicks. But let's dive in. So there's all up to 7 stages, and it's actually a multi-loader, hence, letting the intro loader run through. So the basic idea is, it's your standard platform. It's your standard platform adventure. So terrible start there. And the idea is you need to just go through, collect your objects, and finally, so you've got things like, in this case, I've got this loony card that is actually a pass now on the lift. And the idea is, like with these kind of games, you solve puzzles to move on to the next part. And I like the fact that, so there's 7 stages all up, and they're actually all pretty short, so to speak. In fact, so let's go in. Now this, getting that card and getting to the storeroom lets us get this wooden plank. And we use this wooden plank to fix up the ladder. So, controls are a little weird and awkward at points. Like, say you hold fire and down to grab something, fire it up to use or climb a ladder. Ooh. Collisions are usually pretty good, but in that case, if I was standing at that top ledge when the birdware bite would glitch out. Ooh. So we've got one, unlike a lot of these kinds of games, especially as a budget, well, it was a premium budget range, I believe this was going to be released at, hence the hype. Alright, so we've gone through and gotten a lunchbox. The lunchbox we need to give to areas. So I like this fact that you talk to characters, you have the little menu. So in this case, will this help? And we've given him the lunchbox, and we've got the door key, which we can use to get into the guard's office. I personally, I'm not a big fan of the way that you get that pause. So we get the door key. And then we're done. Now that's the first, there's 7 stages in the whole game. This is just the first, and let's get to stage number 2. Now, so we'll let level 2 load the sewers. Now the gameplay changes a bit here, which I always find really interesting, because you still got the same sort of pattern of exploring. Rather than collecting objects and talking to the other characters, it's all about actually flicking switches. But I like the little, the one thing I really love here is just like the animation for Daffy. I believe it's a, classic overlaid sprite trick. The multicolored sprite covered by a high-res sprite. But it looks really good, it looks really detailed. Sometimes the collisions are a bit off. And it's a bit of a bummer because you only have the one life. It's not like the later Dizzy games where you actually had 3 lives but the energy bar. Which to me is sort of how I'd expect this to work. Because yeah, this is... Ooh, I can't go there because this barrier is up. Unfortunately, there's nothing to like recharge your energy to. Although it gets refilled at the start of each stage, you've just got to really be careful. But yeah, the attention to detail graphically is amazing. It looks awesome. The music, I like the music, but it's not the most suited to the game. Does that, if that makes sense? And I hate when that happens, because then, if I'm not careful... And of course, that barrier is still up, so I've got to be careful. But that one's open. Come on, up. Right, there's another one we got to flick. See, that is really annoying, because I didn't jump there, but it acted like I did. And it's sort of, I guess that's probably my biggest frustration with the game, is you've just got to be really careful about going near other characters. But all up, I know supposedly the review pointed out it's supposed to be potentially a tad easy. Well, truth be told, I've not gotten far enough to know. Granted, actually, this is about the furthest I've made it in this second stage. I think I already switched that one. Oops. Alright. But yeah, I think it's like just really amazing that after all this time, that this game was recovered, pretty much intact, and the C64 and all of us in the C64 community can play it. That we've still got to switch to flick because we can't get to that. Yeah, the collisions are probably the thing I don't like the most. Now we've got that flick. And there's one more we've got to find, and then we'll hopefully have them all. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that collision is unfair. I think that's the thing I like least with this game. Just the unfair collisions. But despite that, it's really an incredibly well put together game. I think that for the budget pricing that you expect, I think you have what is a really solid game on the machine. And I think it's like so amazing just that this was found, recovered, and released. Go read the article on games that weren't. Like I said, there's going to be a link at the bottom. Go download it and have a play for yourself. Would I like to show more? Probably. But I thought it was really cool to actually divert from the plan for this month, throw this as a bonus video so you could check it out. And with that, thanks again for watching. Thanks again to all my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't already. Please do. As we do throw out, I'm here throwing out a video every week, every week, another 64 or some other game. leave a thumbs up and a comment. Love to hear what what do you think this the whole story about? I think the fact that they recovered it is amazing. I've said that enough times. But with that, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.